computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday stream. That's about as far as I thought. That's that's pretty much what I've got. I got a couple ideas for today, kind of, I suppose. But I don't really have anything specific in mind. Monday, I started the process of doing a couple Kingdom Hearts like tier list things, like with Tier Maker. One of them was for like the actual games, and then the second one, I had four pulled up. We got through one and a half of them. The other one was ranking all of the worlds in the entire series. So I only got like halfway through that before Monday stream ended. So we could go back and start those up again. There's a couple things regarding the tabletop game I'm writing that we could do. Those are kind of the two leading options. This is kind of about it. Wednesdays are really kind of a whatever. I don't usually get a ton of traffic on Wednesdays, which I expect. So I'm not really too worried about what I do on these streams, but yeah, stream just started. So I'm gonna wait a little bit, just a couple minutes, maybe like 10 or 15 minutes. See if anybody starts coming in. If it's just me today, then I don't know. I probably won't do the Kingdom Hearts thing then, just because I don't want to just be sitting here doing that myself. I at least want someone else here while I do it. Yeah, so I may just I may work on The Last Fingers. I may just watch YouTube videos or some shit. I don't really know. Wednesdays kind of just hanging out. I want to get the stream time in. I like streaming. I want to be here with you guys. But yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. Just kind of talking to myself right now. I thought Mono was coming in. How are you guys? If you are here from the future, if you are watching the VOD of this on YouTube, which it'll already be the future, but how far into the future are you, potential viewer who may be going back and watching these? Who knows? Maybe I'll keep doing this, and years from now I'll get a decent amount of I'll get a good following. Maybe I'll get that community that I really want. Maybe the YouTube will start getting like a little traction. Maybe people will go there. I don't know. But maybe you're watching this like 5 years from now, like after I've like made it big, and you're going back to watch where it all began, the first couple streams. So yeah, I don't know. If you're here from then, how are things? How am I? How are you? How's the world? Because right now it isn't great. It's kind of complete trash right now. So that's a lot of fun. But yes, how are you? How are you doing? I'm doing pretty good, actually. I know I talked about it. Last couple of weeks have been not so great, like mental health wise. But I think I'm kind of back on the upswing of it. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. Um, got a couple chores done today that I know I usually don't. Last couple days actually. Um, I've been getting like a little more active. Been walking the dog every day now. Uh, she's absolutely loving it. Um, she did pretty good today. Our dog Nova. Oh my god, the fuck is in this? Cocaine. Um, the fuck was I saying? Oh yeah, Nova's real skittish. she like since we met her, we've known how scared she is of basically everything, and her fear response, and maybe this is just a thing for dogs, I don't know. I've had cats most of my life. I only had one dog and I was a kid. um she she does this thing that we call puddling, which has nothing to do with urinating. She does not piddle out of fear. She puddles, in that her response to like overstimulation and fear is to just get as flat as she can to the ground. Like she lays on her stomach, she puts her paws out and just like flattens herself like as much as possible. It's adorable, but it can also be annoying because she'll just stay there, even if her staying there is what is putting her in that danger. So yeah, she did that once on our walk today because a car kind of like came up on us. Um, didn't almost hit us or anything, but just I don't know. There was like some noise, something happened, and she did it. And her staying where she was and not moving was the opposite thing of what I needed her to do. So that was a ton of fun. But no, she's a good girl. Nova's one of those dogs that like she doesn't. I'm not going to say she doesn't misbehave. She's not like, on the whole, she isn't a troublemaker. Nova's biggest problem is that she loves too much, and she needs too much love. And by that I don't mean like she's like special needs or like anything like that. She just, very rarely does she have alone time. She is either glued to my side or to Mana's side. Um, and if she isn't, she will complain and do everything she can, or just sit there and stare at you, um, until she can get where she wants to be, which again is usually at her side or in her laps. Like she will like make a big fuss about it for hours. And again, I always feel shitty for saying it, but like sometimes I just wish she was better at being alone. While we're home, like she thankfully like doesn't have so much, like she doesn't have like separation anxiety. Like we can leave the house and things are fine when we come back. Like she hasn't pulled up carpet or anything. We used to kennel her the first couple of months we got her when we would leave, but that was more to do with potty training her than anything. We'd come back and just sometimes there would be, accidents, and so we would crate her. Um, and the one thing she did that like I don't know if it was necessarily like separation anxiety or it was just a habit, but we have two couches, one of which the center seat, like it's a three-seater thing. The center one has a huge amount of the foam and stuffing pulled out of it from her. So there's just kind of a Nova hole there. And yeah, so she would do that. Um, but that's also pretty much stopped. And again, I don't know if it's just because she finally got that hole to the shape and size that she wanted to, or what. But So she does fine like when we're not home, but when we're home, if somebody is home, 9 times out of 10 they have to be around her. We actually get like it's more confusing when both of us are like, "Hey, is Nova with you?" "No, I thought she was with you." It's like, "Well, where the fuck is she?" Sometimes she will like be in bed or something like by herself, but that is very rarely. Most of the time she has to be with us. Which again is nice and it is cute and I'm happy for it. I would much rather have an over affectionate dog than an under affectionate one, like one that ignores us all the time. But yes, there are some days or some nights where it's like, Nova, I'm just trying to relax. Can I have some alone time? Alone time is something that you basically just don't get in this house. It's Mana and myself, and then we have Nova and our two cats, Rogue and Winter. So the only time you are getting alone time is if you are behind a closed door, and even then, it's questionable. Um, but yeah, that's kind of life update. A little bit of rambling that took care of about 10 minutes. Um, it looks like there's a couple people in here. Um, I haven't seen any chat pop up yet. But yeah, if you're here, say hello. Only thing you got to do it is give me a follow. Um, but yeah, I'd love to talk to anybody who is here. That'd be nice. Especially on today when like I literally don't have anything. I have nothing planned. I don't even know what I want to do. Um, like I said, a couple ideas, but nothing like. Bleh. Also trying to think of ideas for Saturday. I I know I've said this before, but I may because I keep thinking about it. Um, maybe episode 2 of Dead Space this Saturday. I'm not sure. Again, I keep saying it, but I also just keep not doing it. Even though, and again, I know I've said this a ton. The first like Dead Space stream that we did was like I'm pretty sure like was my favorite stream that I've done so far. I've been streaming for like a month, maybe like closer to 2 now, I think. Um, and yeah, and that whole time, like we had like a bunch of people here, a bunch of people were talking. It just like shit that happened in it was fun, um, and funny and entertaining, and I felt like it was all going really well. Um, so I don't know. I think I keep putting it off because maybe like part of my anxiety is like that's not happening again. That was lightning in a bottle. It had nothing to do with Dead Space. It was just it happened to be a night where everybody was on. But we will try it. You know, okay. I need to start planning things a little better and like sticking to things as well. This Saturday will be Dead Space. We will be doing another. We will be picking up Dead Space where we left off, which was using like a thermite bomb to get through something. I don't know. Yeah. We'll do Dead Space again this Saturday. So, Mark, are you here, Mark? Mark your calendars is what I was going to say before I stupid. Okay, well, like I said, I was about to say, well, let's get into the content, but I still don't know what that is. Um, I don't know. Let me take a look. Like I said, like we got the Kingdom Hearts stuff, but like I want to do it when there's at least someone in chat. Hopefully, more specifically, someone who uh someone who likes Kingdom Hearts and would actually care about my opinions on the matter. Um, I don't know. I could work on Last Ingress stuff, but I'm also kind of meh about it. There's the thing I want to work on also, like, I need people's input and opinion on it. Again, I could do it by myself. Nothing's stopping me, but like, I don't know. I don't know. What do I want to do? We could just watch YouTube poops. But I don't know how fun that is for anybody else. Another thing I want to do, both for stream, although I have no idea how entertaining it would be for other people, more for myself and the accountability of doing it on stream. I want to do like exercise streams, because again, like I need to start getting more active, getting in better shape. And I would feel like having the accountability of stream would help with that. Or at the very least would help with the regularity of it. Hey, Gumber Pile, welcome back, man. How are you doing? How has your week been? Hopefully better than a... what was it, like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. wake-up call that you had the other evening? Hopefully things have been a little better for you since then. I am doing okay. I kind of just went through everything. Like, I'm doing pretty good. Got some things done. Took the dog for a walk. Oh, actually, now that someone's here, I could show it off. So I took my dog for a walk. Not really too far, just like up a couple blocks and back. And while on this walk, someone down at the corner had like just a bunch of stuff they were getting rid of for free, like out on the curb, with a big sign that said like free stuff, take if you want, sort of thing. Currently, I'm gonna guess that's 10:16 in the evening. Yeah, because you're 6 hours ahead. Hoping and praying I get a good night's sleep. Aside from that, same old shit. But I have a few things going on keeping me occupied. Hopefully not bad or stressful things, but also understandable if they are. I would imagine that having a young child, such as you do, is ludicrously stressful. But yeah, hope you're doing good with all that as well. Yeah, so I was walking the dog, a bunch of free shit out on the curb, and I didn't even think about it. Like, it was just like all old furniture and things like that, and we not only have no room in this house for it, but no use. Like, even with like what we have, like, Lana and I really need to like clean and get rid of stuff. Therapy and happy pills. Hey man, I wish I wish I could be in therapy. Unfortunately, I live in the United States, so mental health takes a back seat. And even though I have medical insurance, which is also a thing that I need because I live in the United States, even covered under insurance, the last time I looked, a therapist would be anywhere between $200 to $300 a session, with insurance. So, yeah. Well, the offer still stands. You need to feel free to message me. I appreciate it, man. I really do. I'm at, I'm just under 30 followers for now. I'll do it for free. That's good to keep in mind. Yeah, so I'm a little under 30 followers right now, and on most days I have, one or two people watching, maybe, one or two, the same amount of people like active in chat. So I don't quite feel like I'm here yet, but I've been considering starting up a Discord server for the channel. But I think I'm gonna wait until we get to that 50, just kind of as another, like, I don't know, I guess, like, incentive for the goal. I don't know why I brought that up. Oh, can okay, getting back on track to this fucking thing I wanted to show you. So walk down to the end of the street, bunch of free shit, because I think they sold the house, or the people there are moving in and getting rid of shit or whatever. Big sign that said, like, free stuff. And I did ignore it. I gave it a glance just to see if it was anything worthwhile, and as I thought, nothing really was. Except something caught my eye. And initially I looked at it and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. No, I don't need it. I've got too much stuff. And it's basically the point at which, like, I usually turn around to come back home. And I did. I started taking Nova. And then I just stopped. I stopped in the middle of the fucking street. And I was like, you know what? No. I want it. I'm going to take it. So I went back. I grabbed this thing. And then I walked the, like, 3 blocks back home with it. And I'm going to show you what I found. I found, for completely free... Oh, there's something in here. I'll have to take a look. I found for completely free, on the side of the road, this. Is a wizard and a Durgan. His hand came off, though. So all I gotta do is, like, super glue it back on. It actually looks like that's been done a couple times before. There's, like, some glue residue here. But, yeah, I got this for free. This would be like 50 or 70 bucks if you found it in a shop. Which is also why, as big of a nerd as I am, I've never had one of these. It is, isn't it? Like, it's old. It's yellowed. It needs a little bit of TLC, and like I said, the hand needs to be, like, glued back on, but, like, yeah, otherwise it's pretty cool, right? It has this big opening in the back. And you can see it really clear. There's, like, this tube here. So I think it's supposed to also be because there's like a tiny vent right here. So I'm pretty sure this is for incense. To put, like, incense cones in here, and so, like, the smoke will, like, pool down here. And I'm guessing with this tube, it probably leads up to, like, the dragon's mouth. And comes out of there. So, yeah, I'm, like, I'm, like, actually excited about this thing. Okay, there's a little bead thing kind of tossing around in there. But yeah, I got this for free off the side of the fucking road. On a table that I didn't want. So yeah, here's... you need incense, you need to try this shit out. Yeah, for sure. We have incense here. I mean, there's you can't really see it. That is like a big old incense box. I don't actually think we have any in there right now. But we keep a lot of incense around. Mana is... That's just gonna be there. That's just gonna be right there for now. Mana is... I hesitate, not because of I don't want to get it wrong. I believe they are pagan. Um, I'm agnostic. I've like so I research things involving all of that, like witchcraft, and like I've always loved um uh like crystals and gemstones. So like I have a collection of those things. I go to those sorts of stores and I buy things. I have a book on my shelf that I'm looking at called The Crystal Bible Volume 1. Um and I did kind of delve into it like a little bit, but I'm just too how do I say this without like being insulting? I'm too it doesn't work for I don't get into the religious belief side of things. I study things because I find it very interesting, but do I believe they are real? No, I don't know. I'll I don't know. That's always kind of the stance that I take on like religious things. Hence why I say I'm agnostic and not like atheist or pagan or anything, because my big thing is to me, and if anyone watching is atheist or is religious, I don't give a shit. As long as you're not a dick about it, I don't care. I'm not saying you're stupid. I'm not saying you're wrong, because my whole thing is I don't think you can say. I I don't think as human beings we have the capacity to comprehend and like say factually, like without a doubt, that there is or isn't higher powers than us. Um, so that's why to me, like atheism it isn't religion. It's again, it's the opposite. It's anti-religion, but I see that as just as what's the word I'm trying to look for? It's just as rigid as saying that there is a god. Like I understand not believing and not thinking so, but to say with absolute certainty that there isn't, I think is also just as, and again, I don't want to say foolish or anything, but I think just as unjustifiable as saying that there is. I don't think there's any. If we ever do figure it out, great, but I don't think we can. I don't think we will, and so I'm not comfortable enough saying yay or nay one way or the other, and so that's why I'm agnostic. It's just a big question mark. I think doing that may have been backwards. Uh, it's all good, man. I'm not religious in any way, but today, while out, I struggled quite a bit and actually found myself in a church. Gotcha. And so that is my thing too. Is like that's why like I'm not gonna say never, because like yeah, probably as like a rebellious teen and everything, but like I don't think religion is bad either. Again, just like anything, it's how you go about it, and just don't be a dick about it. Like, don't force your beliefs, whatever they are, on anybody else. If you, and I speak as like the larger you, not like just to you specifically. If somebody feels they need religion, a belief in something, a higher power, if they need the thought of prayer, of whatever it is, to get them through the day, to get them through hard times, to get them through just a single moment. Like I'm not gonna say you're fucking stupid for doing it. I've known plenty of people who like, were or like still are, like adamant excuse me, like adamant atheists who like in a time of need have, uh turn to prayer or meditate, have turned to something like vaguely religious as a comfort, and that's fine. I don't have a single problem with that. Uh, the only thing I enjoy being forced is cake. I'm happy to accept anyone in their beliefs, etc. But yeah, don't be trying to force your beliefs down my throat, etc. Yeah, exactly. And like, so I don't know, quite what the um, religious atmosphere is like over in the UK. Um, because it's you guys are so much older than the United States. Like old in the United States is like 100 years, right? But that is fucking nothing for you guys. And the best way I've ever thought to like describe how the United States is is we're the toddler trying to act like the adults. Like the UK, like Europe in general, basically everywhere else in the world has had civilization established for like thousands, if not like tens of thousands of years, right? So they've been through all this, and not to say like everyone else has ended up in a correct place either, but like you've had a lot of history. Again, the United States is still like less than 300 years old, right? So, um, but we're trying to act like one of the big boys, and it always the image I always get is the toddler like finally being allowed to sit at the adults table, but then like a child sitting at the table with adults who like thinks that they know what they're talking about, but they just really don't, and everyone else is just looking at them, at this annoying kid who's talking like they know what they're talking about, and they're just like, okay, all right, buddy. um yeah, so again, like I don't know how much of American news reaches everywhere else, but uh yeah, where I live um is very uh religious. Very Christian. And again, the bulk of the country is, and a lot of people will do whatever it takes to make sure that you are too, and if you're not, then that's a big problem. uh to be honest, I'd say the focus on religion in the UK has dwindled in probably the last 50 to 60 years. But before that, from the Middle Ages till I want to say maybe the 50s, 60s, I do think religion was quite a big thing. I think that's the way for, again, like a lot of other cultures and places, like like I said, like the UK, like a lot of Europe, being Christian was just normal for like hundreds of years. And then, once the scientific age uh, started to become a thing, and mass communication was a lot easier. We've started to see trends of dwindling religion. Um, which again, with the whole conversation we had, like I hesitate to say that I find that as a good thing, but I'd be lying if I said that it didn't. It again, if it is what you need, I don't like I really don't care how many religious people there are in the world. It's when those views start affecting things like laws and um uh and policies and things like that. Like, so in the city I live in, there's basically two options for healthcare. We have one system of hospitals called Deaconess, and there's one other one called St. Vincent's, which for the longest time was known as St. Mary's. They like just changed their name in like the last couple of years. I always liked Deaconess more because just the healthcare I always got there was fine. Ludicrously expensive, but that's not like their fault. That's the entire country, so I get it. St. Vincent's, on the other hand, as the name may imply, is very openly like Christian affiliated. Like all over like their the hospitals, like the waiting rooms, the patient rooms and everything, you'll find, crosses, you'll find Bible verses, things like that. And that never made me feel comfortable, especially, when we get all these reports in the United States of like religious parents and medical staff that take religious doctrine over fucking science and medicine. And like, kids have died because like parents and doctors thought the better case was to just pray it away, when like the answer was a very like simple medical thing. And so there's been multiple stories, but there was one big one where that happened. And here's the kicker: the parents were put on trial for whatever it was, like child endangerment, negligence, basically all the things that you could try a person for that would have led to the death of a child. As far as I can remember, they were acquitted with like a religious basis. So I'm sorry if I don't feel super comfortable knowing that my life is on the line of people in that same religion. But I don't have a choice now, because of the other grand part of the American healthcare system. The new medical insurance that my job, that my place of employment picked up in this year, isn't accepted at Deaconess and is only accepted at St. Vincent. So I had to change all of my medical care over to St. Vincent's, which was the one thing I didn't want to do. Yep, I've read quite a few stories about stuff like that. Yeah, so, like, pardon me if I don't exactly feel very comfortable, lying in a medical bed when I look over and see, like, a cross on the wall, and it's just like, oh, is the doctor gonna just pray that I don't have a tumor? So, Mrs. So-and-so, your child has an allergic reaction to Snickers, and she needs a shot from an EpiPen to save her life. Oh, no, that's fine. I'll pray the swelling away. Like, yeah, like, that shit, like, has happened, and it's like, it's so... it's so culty. Because I mean, and I like, I've seen it firsthand. Like, I, not that I'm saying I've like stood next to like someone's like, bed while like their family tries to pray their sickness away instead of taking them to a doctor. But so as of this year, I've lived in the city that I live in for 7 years now. But the bulk of my life, I grew up in a very small town, about half an hour, 45 minutes west of here. A lot of time it's frustrating, especially as a parent. Yeah, there's a lot of shit that really annoys me and my partner. Yeah, like I'll get to the other thing I was going to get to, but so my partner and I had another discussion about kids just a couple days ago. Not anything. I mean, it was a serious talk, but not as in we are still very far away from ever like having kids or anything like that. But so anytime we talk about kids, the two biggest factors for us are like on making the decision as to whether we will or won't has always been financial. Okay, so I guess three biggest things: financial, which we just can't right now. The other factor just being timing. uh, so I'm 30, they're 31. We'll be turning 31 and 32 this year. Um, and this is usually about the time that people of our age start having families. So there is that to consider. Um, but also, we were very lucky in that when we got married, leading up to it, and at the wedding and after the wedding, we never. I'm not going to say never. There were like maybe one or two people who said this, but it was mostly jokingly. The bulk of our family weren't the people who were like, "Oh, you're getting married now. When are you having kids?" A lot of them were like, "Hey, like, congrats on getting married. Don't have kids." They were saying don't rush to have kids, and we were like, believe us, we're not. But the best bit of advice that we got, I think, was actually from her aunt, and it's basically what we've stuck to. And they said, you know, whenever you decide to have kids is fine, but keep this in mind. Once you have a kid, it is never just you two for the rest of your lives. And yeah, like obviously from birth to 18, and in this day and age, likely a lot longer, you know, that other person is with you the entire time. They are living with you. If we want to do any sort of trips or traveling or, going out, anything, like, it is 99% of the time, like, it is going to involve them. So, that's kind of something we've, really considered too, of because there's a lot of things that my partner and I want to do that we haven't done yet and would like to do without having to worry about a kid, that we want to do as just the two of us, which has already, been made a little harder because we have our pets. So, that's already like, oh, well, even if like day trips, kind of whatever, but even those, it's still like, okay, well, who are we going to get to feed the girls? Like, who's going to watch the girls and, take the dog out or anything? We just have to hope that someone's around for the day or the weekend or, like whatever we're doing. We've gotten lucky in those regards, that we do have a fairly good, like support network of people who are able to help us with that, without us having to spend money on like, putting them, in a care center or anything. But, yeah, so, obviously, you're aware as well that, like, once you have a kid or kids, it's no longer just the two of you. You're a family now. You got to worry about everybody. So, there are certain things that we want to do before having a kid. You'll know one day soon if kids is something you want. Trust me, as a father of four, it's physically, emotionally, and mentally demanding. I had my first child at 20. I don't regret it at all, but it's been far from easy. You'll know when the time comes when your wife does a cheer. Give me a P, give me an E, you'll get the idea. Yeah. So, that kind of leads into the third thing I was going to say in terms of our consideration. The decision that we both came to the other day after we talked, which again wasn't necessarily like we had to like go back and forth and came to a decision. It was more of just they started the conversation and said everything that I would say on the same, like in the same regards. So it was really nice to know that we both thought the exact way, the exact same way. And that's basically that we are pretty sure that having children the normal biological way will likely not be possible. Obviously, I'm not going to go into details about it, but I will say that for us, it is highly unlikely that we would be able to do so. Which I told them I am perfectly fine with, because in my personal debates on whether I want children, whether I want to be a father, my thought process in, how do I put this? When someone, whenever I think of the question, do I want to be a father? Almost every time the immediate answer is yeah. But then I start thinking about it. Uh, and while I like the idea of having a child, of having children, of basically having this person who I get to instill all of my morals, my knowledge, my passions. I get to share them with this person and watch as they grow and become their own person. I love that idea. I've never wanted to be a teacher, but I really like teaching. Like, I like explaining things to people, who are willing to listen and learn, and who are like genuinely interested. So there's I've always found like that part of like a kid's life as being interesting, of like when they're just asking questions about fucking everything, which I know would also eventually get annoying, but like, the stereotypical thing of like, you explain something, they're like, why? And then you explain something and they're like, why? And it just keeps going. Like, I'm kind of okay with that, because like anytime they ask, like, as long as I have an answer, I'll just tell them. Like, you know, and also anything I say, obviously this is coming from someone who isn't a parent. So, these are just ideas and concepts of what I think I would like and I would dislike. Obviously, having never gone through it. So that part of parenting, that concept of it has always been an interest of mine. The real part that isn't, and maybe this makes me petty or whatever, but I don't like babies and I don't like toddlers. I've kind of always been of the mindset of like, if you could just give me like a cool 5 or 6 year old and we could just start there, that'd be great. Um, which, and, is something that my partner and I decided is like, we essentially said, if we do ever get to the point where we are comfortable enough to start a family, we will likely be doing it through like adoption, and even then further likely trying through the foster system. Um, and so I'm interested to see what you say about this, because I don't know if maybe you're already typing something about it, but almost every parent I've talked to or that I've seen, like interviews or opinions about, has said the same thing, which, and I'm not downing it, I'm just saying I've heard it a lot, is it is different when it's yours. And I have zero doubts about that. Because like I hate the idea of having a baby, because they, like, I already have sleeping problems as it is. Like, you get no fucking sleep with a baby or a child, as I've seen from your examples. Like, there's no fucking sleep. It is so much stress. It is such a strain on a relationship. I don't like dealing with poop. Like, I don't want to deal with dirty diapers. I don't want to deal with getting vomit on me. I don't want to deal with getting pissed on. And again, I know that also means like skipping the good stuff, the the holding them in your arms, this thing that you made, together with your partner. You created this life, and you're holding them, and seeing them smile for the first time, and their first steps and their first words, and all that sort of stuff, like taking walks with them and everything. I know there are so many positive things as well. I just, again, for me, the negatives like start to outweigh it. um I'm at this point in my life, I still don't know if I would be okay, if I would enjoy, maybe not enjoy, but again, like whether those goods would outweigh the negatives. And the last thing I fucking want is to go into a situation like creating a life if I am not 100% sure about it. um so like I said, like there's I'm not dumb. I know that like every stage of a child's life, of an individual's life, there are going to be things that are hard and difficult and not fun about being a parent. um but I would also be perfectly fine with skipping to the part where they just want to go to the toy store, because I do too. um what'd you say? It is. I was never big on babies and stuff growing up, but watching as all my kids have been born, I've always, from the first second, felt this wave of love. Shitty diapers, pee, and vomit is just one of those things that you learn to deal with. Um, a bit of honesty. Okay, I'll keep kind of rambling as you go. And yeah, again, that's that is the sentiment that I've heard from basically every parent, is like, hey, like, yeah, you got to deal with all that stuff. Um, but changing the diapers, and dealing with the restless nights of someone else's baby, like everyone's like, absolutely not. I would not fucking put up with that. But when it's yours, yeah, like this people say is like, you don't really even like think about it after a while. And I don't doubt that at all. How could it be wrong when literally everybody has said it? Um, I struggled a lot over the last few months. Felt like a shit dad, and was at the stage of walking out of my house because I was under the impression that my kids would be better off without me. Oh, you weren't done. It sounds so bad when when like that's the only part I read. Um, well, I will wait to respond until I because I'm guessing that wasn't the end of that. um, yeah, and so like of course that's my other fear too, is like I feel like I would be a good parent, but I'm like, what if I fucked up? Um, you know, and I know that that's I have anxiety and I have depression, so like those thoughts are already there. But I also like I am well aware of the fact that those are also like normal worries to have. Of course, you're going to worry that you're going to fuck up as a parent. I would actually be more worried about somebody who wasn't worried about fucking up being a parent, at least with like their first kid. Um, yeah, like my biggest worry slash struggle about being able to take care of and provide for my child are all almost all um financial. Like I I have no doubts that I would be a good parent, like emotionally. It's just financially. um I know that's not true, and I've known for the last 14 years that it isn't true, but kids can be a huge mental drain, and I know deep down I am an awesome dad. I have no doubts about that whatsoever. You just got to keep believing in yourself. There is no perfect parent. We all fuck up and we all make mistakes. And yeah, like obviously there's that too. Like, I say, I'll be patient and a good teacher, but I know there will be a day when I'm just, like exhausted or fucking whatever. And they just keep asking questions. And I know, I'll get to the point where I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Just can we, I don't know. I don't know. Like, we'll figure it out later. Or just like, can you just shut up? Which, again, I know is not something you could say to your kid. Or, for a while. Yeah, so like I said, like most of it for me is financial. I'm just so worried about failing in that regard of like not being able to, afford them food, the food they need, the clothes they need, school, school supplies, things for field trips if they come up. The last thing I want is for them to be like the kid left out because their parents didn't have the money. So, and again, like that's one of the things we've like why we haven't done it yet is because there's no way we could have a kid right now. There's no way we could do it. So, that's obviously a big part of it. And we're also like both of us just aren't ready. Like we're still like doing our shit. I don't feel like I've done everything that I want to do before starting a family. And we have been lucky enough that that decision has not been forced upon us. We are again, without getting into any details, there is doubt as to whether it can happen in the first place, and we are we act safely in those regards. Is as PG as I can put it, I suppose. But yeah, I sympathize with your situation as well. Again, without going into like too much detail or anything, I have a half brother who is significantly older than I am. I'll put it that way. I also understand that I have a very unique perspective on parenthood and on the on the adoption system as a whole. Another small message incoming. Got it. Because I am adopted. I wasn't in the foster system or anything like that. My parents, so other distinction that I'll get out of the way. The people who adopted me and who raised me are my parents. They are my family. They are my parents. I have birth parents who are two people who happened to physically make me, and that is it. There are many factors that help in that shaped that perspective for me, that I know are very individual. It was, I have, the way my parents handled it, like I have always known that I was adopted. There was never like a sit down talk that I had when I was like of a certain age where they were like, hey, we need to, tell you something. Like I've always known that I was adopted and that I came biologically from different parents. But my parents took me home when I was only 3 days old. Like the adoption and everything was settled like well before my actual birth. Along with that, my parents, I my adoption is what was called a closed adoption, which basically means my parents and my birth parents don't didn't know who each other were, never used real names. My parents said they met my birth mother on like one occasion for a brief chat just to say they met each other. Again, didn't use real names. And then that was it. The only information I have regarding my birth parents and their family, whenever I turned 18, there was a, I guess, packet of things that my parents gave me. And included in that were, it was mostly for medical purposes. You know, there were medical documents, family history, that sort of thing. But again, no names. It was just, you know, paternal father, paternal grandfather, paternal uncle, you know, things like that. So that if anything medical ever came up, I could say, you know, yes, like there is a biological history of this or that. Alongside that, my both of my birth parents wrote letters addressed to me in the eventual future of whenever I read them. And that was very interesting in a positive way. Especially because, like, you know, they both had letters basically telling me about themselves. You know, again, you know, also at the time, which is, you know, now going back to, like, I was born in 1991, so, you know, you know, going back to probably, you know, 1990, maybe 89. And, there were a lot of things in my birth father's letter that, like, as he was describing himself, I'm like, oh yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. Yep, that's me. Okay. You know, and the interesting thing about that too was that I I didn't have that thought of um like, oh, this is my father, like this is where I got all this from. Because again, like he isn't my father. My dad's my father. You know, this is just some dude who shot me out of his dick. And there just happened to be a womb in the way. Um, you know, it was just, man, I'd like to like hang out with this guy. Um, uh, yeah, so that's kind of the extent of that. And there was also a small photo album. Some pictures, you know, of before I was born. Like I know what my birth parents look like. Well, I know what they looked like at the time those photos were taken, which again would have been like late 80s, early 90s. Uh, so like I know what they look like. Um, I know, you know, like what the family looked like back then. There were a couple pictures of like the day I was born, like at the hospital and everything. Um, you know, but again, like you know, I doubt they kept me with my birth mother for very long. Because again, like my parents, my family, took me home just 3 days later. Uh, so yeah, that's my experience with all that. You know what? I'm gonna change the stream information real quick because right now it's like about like, oh, Kingdom Hearts or like tabletop shit, and here I am talking about my fucking adoption and like we're having this like intimate discussion about parenthood. Maybe I should throw on a couple different tags, you know. Um, uh, what the fuck should I name the stream? Uh, Talkin' Bout babies. Wow, Twitch doesn't have a tag for adoption. That's awesome. Nothing for family things either. Yeah, I thought I was going to add a different tag, but I guess not. I'm sorry. I had to come up with a name for this wizard. Yeah, so there's all that. I don't know if that changes the atmosphere at all. And yeah, so it's like I said, I've known my entire life I've been adopted. It's never been like an issue for me. I never once had any sort of like identity crisis in terms of like who am I really? Nothing like that. Like I am who I am. My parents are my parents. I've also like I've never once gotten like of course my parents and I have gotten mad at each other, had disagreements, been furious at each other. I have never once, nor will I ever say anything like I wish I would have stayed with my I wish my birth parents would have kept me. I wish I had been adopted by different people. I wish you guys wouldn't have gotten me. Like nothing like that. I would never ever stoop that low to say something like that to my parents. That is not okay. No matter how mad I am. And also because it's never been true. My parents and I have vastly different views on most things. But they have also given me a phenomenal life. I've traveled so much and seen so much more than a lot of people around me have. And I've been very lucky in all of those regards. Got your message. I can tell this shit is quite hard for you, man, but I want you to know that I think you're doing great. I completely agree with this person as my dad. I don't know you all that well. I don't know the history of stuff, but I'm of the mindset that the parent is the one who has raised the child. I'm in a similar situation, adoption-wise, but the folks who raised you, I can tell, have done a one hell of a job. Man, that's really sweet. That's really cool of you. Thank you. That really means a lot. So I will say, like, uh discussing or talking about this stuff isn't difficult for me. It's I just understand that it is serious for like for like other people. And I want to portray it and get it across in the clearest message possible. But like I said, the way I've grown up with it, like being adopted just isn't like a thing for me. Like I don't like think about it even like often. So I joke about it all the time. The funniest thing actually is how like so one of my best friends, the way he found out was he like made an adoption joke, and it was we were first of all we were like kids in high school, so it was and that's also going back to 2005 through 2009. So like if you can take yourself back to where that humor was at. So he said like some stupid shit about, like, yeah, that's why your parents don't actually love you is because you're adopted. And, I was just like, hey, I'm not upset at all, but I am letting you know that I am adopted. And maybe if you stick around stream for a while, as you get to know me a little better, you'll understand that that sounds like something I would make up, um, like just to be funny. And so he was like, "Yeah, all right, man," but I was like, "No, I'm adopted. Like you can ask my parents." And like immediately, like once he realized that like I wasn't kidding, and again I wasn't upset, but I was also not joking. He was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry, I didn't know," and I was like, "Dude, I don't give a shit." Um, yeah, so like yeah, like talking about my adoption and like everything surrounding that isn't yeah like it isn't difficult for me to talk about. Um, uh, um it doesn't really super make me like I'm a very emotional person. Like uh I cry at a lot of things. I'm very empathic when it comes to that sort of stuff. I am an emotional little bitch. um Not that there's anything wrong with a man being in touch with their emotions, uh but yeah, like it just isn't a thing for me. um I'm not sure if you remember, but my partner, when we met, had a child with a guy who is a waste of space. I'm not biologically her dad, but I've been there when she's ill. I've been there to take her to school and to pick her up. I provided for her emotionally and financially, put a roof over her head. I've put food in her stomach and clothes on her back. Again, I'm not biologically her dad, but I am. If that makes any sense. Yeah, absolutely. Like, and I almost feel terrible using quoting a Marvel movie, but uh, so I don't know how into the MCU you may be, but if you've seen Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, um, with everything that I've kind of learned about you over the last few days as well, like what from what I've learned about you and maybe what you've learned about me, if you've seen Guardians 2, I think we can both agree that that's the one that kind of really hit home on a lot of things. And the one thing I'll use from that movie like forever is the quote that Yondu says towards the end of, "He may have been your father, but he ain't your daddy." And that is just that, oh my fucking god, that hit me so much, cuz it's like, yeah, like it and I've heard this line like so many places too. Being a father isn't difficult. Being a father is the easiest fucking thing, one of the easiest fucking things in the world to do. But being a dad, like being the one to care for and raise a child, especially when they aren't your own, is fucking king shit. Like that takes such a special kind of person to do. And that's also kind of why like I hope to be able to be that for some kids someday, you know? Like I said, like we're if we ever do decide to start a family, it will likely be through like a foster type of adoption. And you know, I know that kids in that system can be difficult too, but it's because of the shit life that they've had. The like I would want nothing more. I would be so happy if I could do that for a kid. If I could take them out of that and provide for them a happy, safe, welcoming environment where they could be themselves and they didn't have to worry about any of that shit ever again. They will never have to worry about being struck. They will never have to worry about uh they will never have to physically worry about, you know, making mom or dad angry. You know, they'll never have to worry about going hungry again, or if they'll have clothes again, or you know, where they're going to wake up the next day, if they're going to wake up the next day. I want to be able to do that for somebody and provide for them a good environment for them to flourish and thrive and become the person that they're supposed to be. Um, I just can't do that right now because we got shit to do and I don't have any money. Oh God, yeah. And then Groot had a bomb and I got distracted. Yeah, thankfully all of that, like the hard hitting emotional dad stuff came kind of before and after that like third act action movie scene. But yeah, yeah, any guy with a dick can make a child. A man can raise a child, and I have no worries that whether it's natural or adoption, you will be a fucking amazing dad, and your wife will be a fucking amazing mom. And yes, I did mean to use scams. I am okay with that, and I absolutely appreciate it. Right, you're in the UK. I wonder. Quick sidetrack. I wonder when. I wonder when the split between American English mom and British English mum happened. Uh, so one side of my family is very Scottish, one side is very Irish. So um I know the answer for that. Um so in the UK, what do you normally call the uh uh paternal figure? Like, is it dad most of the time? Like, so in America it's usually, dad, um uh and again, like, I know, like Scottish Irish sort of thing, it's da or pa. Especially like Southern America, Paul. We got Paul, mom and dad. Okay. Yeah. So mom's always been the one for me that, like, obviously, straight away if like through like messaging, like if someone is from the UK, because they'll say mum, mum. And I just find it so fascinating that that's one of the few like English words that I've seen that, again, it's basically a typed accent. Like, you can tell that the reason you spell it that way is because you say it that way. Um and like, so the same goes for mom, right? Like, but, and I'm not trying to do any superiority here or nothing, but like, I feel mom, like American, like MOM, is, if you'll grant it, a little more accurate, seeing as the root word is mother, which is spelled with an O, and not a U. Is that fair? Is that fair? I'd also learn a few terms of British endearment that you may be able to use. Yeah. Um, you guys, I mean, again, like, every language's slang terms, like, are, strange, because they come out of culture. But you guys got some weird shit. Like, you guys got, and again, fostered by, hundreds, technically thousands of years of like, culture, and just, like, I guess, like, weird translations being passed down and things like that, phrases that don't, like, mean the same thing that they used to anymore. But you British people got, like, you got some weird ones. Again, not to say that, American English doesn't, but I can't even think of any. You know what? I'm gonna move the wizard. The scene from Austin Powers, the third movie, Goldmember, whenever whenever Austin and his father, Nigel, which is, when they have when they have their discussion in English, um, like I know that everything they say like is actual like they are British idioms. Up the apples and pears. Um, Jeez, that I don't know. That's the one that all sixes and sevens. Um, Again, I know these all come from somewhere. I'm sure, but like, just say stairs. Just say upstairs. Just say someone's crazy. Like you got. I'm gonna pull it up. I first of all, I don't know if you've seen the movie, um, that I'm talking about. I would imagine so. You're definitely old enough to have seen those movies. Um, I'll ask this since I'm bringing it up. How are the Austin Power movies regarded in the UK? Seeing as it's a lot of British stuff being done by someone who isn't British. Like, is that like? So it's not racist, but like, are you guys okay with it? like, is it non-offensive enough? Is it a good enough parody for you to watch that and be like, yeah, okay, like yeah, we do that. Yeah, that's funny. This and that. Or is it more on the side of like, come on, it's not actually like that. Um, okay, so these can all be used in friendly terms. Okay, so these can all be used in friendly terms. All right, bollocks. Hey, knobhead. How's it going, asswipe? I assume if you said that to an American, at least they may take offense. I find that somewhat funny, but more in the sense of the jokes can run dry. I mean, yeah. Especially like looking back now. Like I watched them when I was a kid, so they're endearing to me. It's very nostalgic, but I would imagine an older audience or someone who had seen it more recently would be like, okay. um so two things about the like list of things you sent. Um Two things about what you said. One, of course, if you said those to an American, they would take offense. It's America. Everyone gets offended about everything. And I know that in itself sounds so boomer, but like it generally speaking, like I know, like I would say that to my group of friends. I would even say that maybe to some of my family members, but just like a dude walking down the street, no. Like if I walked into a bar and just like nudged a dude and was like, "How's it going, asswipe?" That's like like those Dems fighting words. Like that's a good way to potentially start a fight. But at the same time, I mean, hey, both of us can look at Australia and be like, they call literally everybody. I don't have a problem. Okay, I was about to just say it. I don't have a problem saying the C word. Twitch does, though. I kind of momentarily forgot I was streaming. So I'm not going to say it. I'm not even sure if, like, Australian Twitch streamers can say it, but I think we both know what I'm talking about. Austin Powers. English. All right, I'm gonna pull this up real quick. Let's see. Let's get it on here so you can see. You can't see. It's all black. Everything's terrible. The stream's failing. It isn't. I just gotta. There we go. Okay. See you next Tuesday. Shut the fuck up. Okay, so you tell me they're gonna start speaking British English, and it actually has subtitles so that us Americans can understand what they're talking about. You tell me how accurate it is. I've seen things. Like again, this movie came out in like fucking 2008 or whatever. came out so long ago, probably a lot earlier than that actually. So I've seen so many things since then that are like I've learned certain British phrases that like, oh yeah, I know that, I recognize that from that scene in Goldmember where they were speaking British English. Oh, I guess that's a real thing. You tell me how accurate this is.
Dad!
Hello, son. Just overpowering my guards.
I'm here to rescue you. Come quickly.
I've got a better idea. Why don't you rescue me in about, 7 or 8 minutes?
Oh, knock it off. I don't want to see my dad on the job. Come on, let's go.
Okay. I'm sorry, girls.
Stupid edit there.
Boy. Oh.
Oh, what's wrong with your neck?
I took a Viagra. Got stuck in my throat. I've had a stiff neck for hours. Thank you.
Listen, Dad, if you are going to talk about naughty things in front of these American girls, then at least speak English.
All right, my son. I could have had it away with his cracking Judy, my old China.
Are you telling pork pies in a bag of trout? Because if you are feeling quickly, why not just have a J. Arthur?
What, Billy? No, mates.
Too right, youth.
Don't you remember the Crimbo Din Din we had with the grotty Scotsman?
Oh, the one that was all 6s and 7s.
Yeah, she was a travelling striper. The Morris dancer lived up the apples and pears.
Yes, she was the barrister that became a bobby in a lorry, and they gave her the with a Gatling gun in the bottom of St. Regis tea kettle. Yes,
and then she
shat on a turtle.
Now, like I said, I at this point recognize most of that. I also know that it was played for comedic effect, and it was mostly just like British terms like thrown in there. A lot of what is used in Austin Powers is Cockney, like rhyming slang, mainly used in London and around those ways. Yeah, and so like I've come to learn that. Again, I know they were just kind of throwing out British terms for that are synonyms for American things. Bobby, Lori, those sorts of things. I understand. There's something from there that I repeat all the fucking time, especially in December. I love the phrase Crimbo Din Din. Oh, it just tickles me. I say that to people all the fucking time. Like whenever both sides of my wife's family are around here. So most holidays we do it twice, sometimes 3 times, depending on whose house we're at. And every fucking time, she's like, all right, let's, get ready and head to the Christmas party. I'm like, oh, we having that Crimbo Din Din? I fucking love it. I love it so much. But yeah, the ones, like I kind of said earlier, the ones that definitely got me were she's all 6s and 7s for, like, calling someone that, like, isn't in their right mind. And then up the apples and pears for something or someone that is upstairs. Seems crazy to me. But hey, I'll put the ball in your court. Have you ever heard an American English phrase for something that you either don't understand what it is, or are confused / bewildered as to, like, wait, that's what they call that? Why would they call it that? Okay, I highly recommend Pigs in Blankets for an addition to Crimbo Din Din. If we're talking about the same thing, I love Pigs in a Blanket. Again, if we're talking about the same thing, so okay, you say Pigs in a Blanket. To me, a singular, like, a pig in a blanket is a small hot dog wrapped in some sort of baked thing, like a croissant or what I call biscuit, which again I know is a term that we have different definitions of. I know to you a biscuit is what I as an American would normally call a cookie, but I actually don't know what I would call biscuits. Is that a crumpet? I don't want to be like offensive. Oh God, no! Small sausage wrapped in bacon. Okay. Yeah. I mean, you usually, and again, hey, this may also be like regional U.S. too, because obviously our country is fucking enormous. So it's almost like we have like different countries like within our country. So yeah, so I can also say, oh, this is what we call it in America, but within America, you can go to 5 different places and have the same thing be called something different. I actually had this discussion with a years ago. I worked at a grocery store, and the other cashier, like, we had some downtime, and they are from around here and very southern, and so we were just going back and forth on different terms for things. So as a little bit of further explanation for that as well for you, I am not from where I currently live. My family and I moved here in '98 for reasons. So I am originally from, and all of my family is from, a vastly different culture than the one where I live. So things like slang and terms for certain things are completely different. What's an example that I could actually ask you as well? Okay, so what would you call a carbonated beverage? Like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Mountain Dew, those sorts of things. What would you call that? Pop. Okay, we agree on that. In the United States, that's a very northern thing. So in where I'm from, most people there do call it pop. Some people call it soda, and then so in a lot of southern places, and so where I am isn't considered the South. It's just the people around here like to think it is. But we do have a lot of people with the what you would know as like the Southern accent, and have a lot of those idioms. Because we're not the South, but we're like we're deep north. It's confusing. So everyone around here just calls it Coke. Which again, like, I disagree with, because I'm like, no, Coke is a brand of soda. But the other distinction for soda that we would make where I'm from is, so a soda would be pop mixed with ice cream. That would be a soda. It's also not, so I say all this. It's not like, don't make it, I don't want to make it sound like if you came over here and you went anywhere, if you said, if you went somewhere where they didn't call it a pop, if you ask for one, you're not really going to get weird looks. They may ask you where you're from, but like, you're not going to get weird looks. They're not going to be like, I don't know what that is, nothing like that. Like, everyone in America is also aware of what other regions in America call things. It's just, American thing of like, well, that's not what we call it where I'm from, so that's not what I'm going to call it. It's like they'll accept it, but like, generally speaking, no one's gonna like be angry or like correct you on it or anything like that. In case you're ever gonna come over for a visit. Okay, so you generally call them Pop. I do the same. My wife is actually from the South and kind of around here, and I think generally she calls them Cokes. She kind of goes back and forth between soda and Coke. But again, like I'm having to even think about it. Like I don't even really recognize what they say. Okay, another one. What do you call the container that you put your groceries in that usually either comes in paper or plastic? Blasphemy. Because I'll a shopping bag. Okay, so you're or just bag. Okay, that was going to be my next thing. Okay, so we actually agree on that as well. That's a bag to me because it's a bag. People around here and like people of the South, they call that a sack. And that is one that I disagree on. To me, the only thing I would call a sack is like a burlap sack, you know? Like I don't know, like a trash bag, you know, like it's not like a size thing for me. I think it's like a material thing. 'Cause like anytime if someone says sack, I immediately think burlap. Like I think burlap or canvas, like I think of like a sack. I was just gonna say the same thing. Yeah, so exactly. Like a sack is something. A sack is hardier. I think it would be like the best way to put that. It's for more. It's for like potatoes or like rocks. Like I don't. It's meant to hold like heavier, rougher things, and so you need like a rougher bag, or sack. So yeah. So to me, that is a sack. Like a thing at the store. My backpack. What I put my garbage in. All of those. It's a bag. I very rarely ever use the word sack. Oh, yeah, you actually brought up another term actually. Okay, a couple more. So you guys call your where you put your food waste bins. Most Americans, it's called the trash or garbage. You guys call them trolleys. I'm pretty sure this may be a regional thing too for America. I'm not sure. We call them carts. They're shopping carts. And then shopping basket. I think we just call them baskets too. Like the smaller, just like handheld ones. Yeah, pretty much anytime I go into like a grocery store, if that's what I need, I'll say that I'm grabbing a basket. Is there another one you said? Carrier bag. Okay, so for me, if someone said carrier bag, my mind automatically goes to our like a mail carrier, like the mailman that comes around. Like they have a carrier bag. But I would otherwise I just call that a satchel. Oh, I miss my satchel. I just got hit with like a wave of nostalgia for like a very specific time in my life where I didn't use my backpack. I had like this red satchel. Do I still have that fucking thing, or did that break? Is that why I stopped using it? Whatever. Um um I don't know if that was a typo or not. What the fuck did you call Walmart? Because you typed ASDA. I don't know if that was a typo or if that's like, or if Asda is okay. I guess that's the name of like your like big brand grocery store sort of, or not department store. That is something different. Just like your kind of one-stop shop sort of store. And obviously I know you guys have Walmarts too. Highway, motorway. Yeah, those are ones that start to get like a little specific. Yeah, one of like 3 big stores. Gotcha. Yeah, so we have and you start to get regional with a lot of this. Obviously our big ones are the same as, like the global big ones, Walmart, Target, I'm actually trying to think of any others. Those are usually like the biggest ones for us here. Anything after that, I think, starts to become regional. Because I can't think of too many other big brand name stores that are like all in one, that are like grocery and clothing and electronics and this. It's basically just Walmart and Target. And then everything else is a little more individualized. We have Asda, Tesco, and Morrison's. Gotcha. Yeah, we the more regional thing in the US are grocery stores. Both in terms of like sometimes you'll have a specific chain, but it's only within like your city, or like maybe, like a couple outlying like towns or whatever. And then you have some that are like for like the region, but you see less and less of them as you go, further from that. So good example for that. Here in the Midwest, and actually even then I'm not quite sure how far it spreads. We have a grocery store called Schnucks. SCHNUCKS. They're pretty nice. They're seen as like a little above, like they're still affordable, but they're like a little better than Walmart. And they generally Schnucks has like it's mostly groceries, and then like 1 or 2 aisles of like, oh, and also toilet paper, cleaning supplies, pet supplies, stuff like that. Yeah, yep, you spelled it right. Schnucks. We have a bunch in the city I'm in, and like surrounding areas and stuff like that. You can travel about 3 hours in every direction, like from where I am, and you'll still find a Schnucks. But counterpart to that, my personal favorite, back where I'm originally from, which is Buffalo, New York, which you may have heard of Buffalo before. It's usually not super positively, if Buffalo ever comes up. So New York State is a lot bigger than I think a lot of people realize. Because anytime I tell people I'm from New York, and for good, reasons, they automatically assume New York City. I'm from New York. I have never once been to New York City. we've never even taken a day trip. Well, and I'll tell you why. We've never taken a trip to New York City anytime we've gone back to Buffalo for a trip. And I'll tell you why. The trip from Buffalo to New York is like 650 miles. New York is a wide state. I may be exaggerating that. I'm gonna look that up actually. Buffalo to New York City. Let's go to the maps. Check out the maps. But then you break it down and you got Queens, Brooklyn, Buffalo, Staten Island. So Queens, Brooklyn, and Staten Island are all New York City. Buffalo is so it's half that. It's a 6.5 hour drive. It's just under 400 miles to get from Buffalo to New York City. So so the other ones you talked about, yes, they are, neighborhoods or whatever that are just kind of part of the larger mass of New York City. Buffalo is completely different. It's on the other side of the state. So if we go into New York City, so then it breaks down. But then you have Brooklyn, you have Staten Island, you have Newark. Do I just use this? Oh, okay. I said he's from Yonkers. New Jersey, which is a completely different state. But again, it's like so close that a lot of people just kind of lump it in. And the same goes for a lot of cities in and I don't think this is an exclusively American thing, but what a lot of people I know will do is, if they're from a smaller place that no one would recognize, but is relatively close to a place people will recognize, they'll just say they're from there instead of saying, oh, I'm from here. It's X amount of distance from this other place you actually know. So again, for example, basically all of my family, if they would travel anywhere else in the United States, if someone asked them where they were from, they would just say, I'm from Buffalo. But you go to Buffalo, and they'll say, I'm from Tonawanda, I'm from Niagara, I'm from Cheektowaga, I'm from Shady Hollow, I'm from Jamestown. There are all these places that, like, when you actually go there, are vastly different. Like I have some family in a town that is 2 hours away from Buffalo, but if they go anywhere else, they're like, yeah, I'm from Buffalo. And it's kind of the same in my state as well. I'm not from. I live in Indiana. And our biggest city is the state's capital, which is Indianapolis. Indy is, again, like, there is the city of Indianapolis, but then it has a lot of different towns, like, surrounding it. And so, again, you go anywhere else and, like, people from Avon or Keystone or anything like that would just say, I'm from Indy. Or like, yeah, I'm from Indianapolis. But then you go there, and that's when, you kind of get, like, a little more specific. And I guess I don't know if that's an American thing. And it's another thing that just kind of got generated out of how big the country is. And so it's just easier. Because, practically no one in this country is going to memorize, is going to know all of those small little places. But with the UK being much smaller, I don't know if it's the same. Like, so, for example, to me, like, you could tell me you're from London, and I would just assume, I would just be like, okay. But I also don't know if, maybe I would go to London, and I would go to where, like, maybe where you actually live, and it's, like, 45 minutes outside of London, and it's actually called, Kingsbury, and you're just like, well, you wouldn't have known where the fuck I was talking about if I said Kingsbury, but, like, everyone knows where London is. I do think it's more of an American thing. British people are very particular about saying where they live. That's very true as well. I know you guys have a very, I can't tell, there's like 3 British accents that I am aware of, and that's kind of the what I think people would consider like standard British, and then there's like the Cockney accent, and I know that Northern English is also different, and yes, that is because of Doctor Who. I live in a small-ish town called St. Helens. I think I've heard of St. Helens. But even other British people say I come from Liverpool. They are 2 completely separate places. Okay, gotcha. But I'm guessing they're relatively close together. Man, I checked one message on my phone and my brain just fucking blue screened. Yeah, and so I guess it's also, well, from an American perspective, I'm assuming it's a little easier to know more British towns and cities, since just geographically speaking, it's a much smaller place. So you have people being more particular about where they're from. Whereas again, in the US is like, you travel far enough and like the answer to where you're from just starts getting more and more generic depending on how far you travel. Yeah, only a few miles between both, but we call each other in St. Helens Woollybags. People from Liverpool are Scousers. Come on, dude. Why? Like, do you know why? Or is it just that's how you were raised? So like that's what you were raised around, so you just know that. But like, can you provide for me an explanation? Give me the etymology. I no clue what your profession is. Why? Okay, I'm gonna take a guess. I can't guess at Scousers. That's a made up word to me. Woollybags, I'm guessing, comes from one of 2 things. Either, for some reason, the men of your region are hairy, in a stereotypical sense, or maybe because I know the British Isle as a whole is known for its lack of sun and overwhelming overcast and or rainy days. So I'm guessing maybe it comes from you guys always wearing sweaters? I'm gonna guess one of those 2 things. It's an accent thing, I guess. Imagine someone talking to you and with certain words they sound like radio static. Okay. I have no idea why we are called Woollybags, though. Fair enough. No, so okay, I'll share this little bit about myself with you as well. I have been to Europe once. I was lucky enough that in 2010, my family and I took a 2-week trip over. It was supposed to be longer, but a couple things came up. So for the first week, we stayed on like continental Europe, and then the second week we stayed in Scotland. Unfortunately, we basically only passed through the UK. I can say I was in London, but it was for like 45 minutes on a layover for a train. So I unfortunately didn't get to like walk around London or explore any of it. The the extent of that was I walked out. My dad and I walked outside the train station, saw the stereotypical red 2-decker bus go by, and we're like, "All right, that was enough." Quick question: will there be a quiz on this? Only asking because this is a lot of info to take in. Absolutely not. I'm just rambling. So at the beginning of stream, like I came on, dude, I had no plans for today. Wednesdays generally are my like, I don't fucking know. It's I'm streaming a little earlier. I have zero plans. I'm fucking rambling. I'm so happy you showed up because I had nothing. I was floundering. I had no idea what I was going to do. This is just two people from different parts of the world chatting it up. If that helps you feel more comfortable. I'll be honest though, man. This has been good. Yeah, like this has been a ton of fun. I haven't had many friends or talked to too many people from like different parts of the world before. Only really a handful. I have a friend that I met in high school in Japan. Someone that was in India, but I know they moved a while ago as well. And then so the person that we stayed with whenever we took our trip, this is where you may see me get a little emotional. So the person that we stayed with, whenever we took our trip to Europe, his name was Vince, short for Vincent. And he was a foreign exchange student that my parents had back in like the early 80s. And everyone just absolutely fell in love with him. Everyone on both sides of my family loved Vince, and he loved everybody too. And so after he went back home, like my family, like especially my parents, like kept in contact with him, and they would, anytime his work brought him over, he would try to visit, and so. When my parents were doing this trip, he offered us to stay at his place while we were on continental Europe, so that we didn't have to worry about, trying to find a place or pay for it and going through all that. So we stayed at his house with his wife and this is where I get confused, because it's either he's from Holland, but Yoshi 16044. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for the follow. Hope you enjoyed your reverb fart. What the fuck was I saying? Oh, so Vince, I can never remember. It's either he's from Holland, but his house was in Belgium, or it's the other way around. I can't really remember. Sup? What are we talking about? We are... Man, I've had to change the stream title. I should have probably changed the stream title again. We're not talking about babies anymore, which is... I know what I changed the title to. We're talking about cultural differences. I'm in America, as you could probably guess by my thick American accent. The other individual in the chat is not, so we're just like talking about different things. All good. I tuned in because he looked like a nice dude. Oh, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, so just I'm currently on the subject of basically explaining that like I've been to Europe once. It was back in 2010 on a trip with my parents. And so for the first week, we were in like continental Europe, and then the second week we were there, we were in Scotland. You sound exactly like Moon. I'm gonna guess they're another streamer, and knowing my luck, probably a pretty popular one that I just don't know about. I'll take it as a compliment, even though isn't Moon that like the name given to like that dumb like the dumb wolf. like it's always like when something goes wrong because of something stupid, it's always damn it Moon. Yeah, just one of the most popular streamers on Twitch. Nothing big. Yeah, whatever. Well, hey, maybe I'll get enough of people similar to you to where they think that that's what they're watching, and I'll trick people into liking me. I'll have to check them out. So, like, honestly, there's only one, like, big streamer that I really watch. And it's actually kind of the reason that I decided to do my own, decided to start. Fuck, where the hell am I? Oh no, you're fucking fine. Swear all the fuck you want. I don't give a shit. The only thing banned in my chat are links, and that's just to keep like bots and spam down. Because I'm also small enough at this point that like if anyone wants to like. If anyone's trying to link me something, it's likely someone I know, and I'll just tell them to DM it to me. We love bad language here. Yeah. That's what the fuck I'm talking about. Abso-fucking-lutely. Although, the only part of it that, like, daily I'm kind of reminded that it kind of hurts the, like, how easy it is for me to get out there is, so, if you guys like the content here, and maybe you miss it, I do have a YouTube channel. The link for it is on the Twitch channel's like page. You have to have like a certain amount of subscribers or views or something on YouTube before you can customize your channel URL. So it's just a long smattering of bullshit. But the link for it's on there. And I upload the VODs to YouTube like fucking immediately. So the VOD for this stream will be available on the YouTube channel at 10 a.m. Central Time tomorrow. Why the fuck was I bringing this up? I'm blessed with a sexy voice. Thank you. I really appreciate that. So does my wife. What the fuck was I saying? I know I was talking about the YouTube channel. I'm trying to remember why I brought it up. Oh! We were talking about swearing, and that reminded me of like the one tiny reason that that I'm reminded of like, oh, it kind of hurts the like how the discoverability of my channel is whenever I'm doing the information for a new video, I don't know if either of you have ever like dealt with YouTube in terms of like like making your own content or like uploading videos before. But you now have to click an option that says whether the content you're uploading is meant for children or not. And very obviously, content made for children is what's going to be spread the most. But every single one of my videos, I say no because of all, like, I don't give a fucking shit. Like, the only thing that I adhere to is Twitch's TOS. I'm actually still mindfully... Okay, alright, I'll go look them up. I'll look it up right the fuck now. All right, let's look up Moon. I was on Reddit the other day, and just so, like, random fucking post was a dude, like, it was a married couple who just bought their first house. So it was like a selfie of them kissing, like, in front of their house. The dude looked exactly like me. Like, It took me out. If you are his long-lost brother, it sounds... So, about that, clearly I know nothing about this Moon individual. From my perspective, depending on his age, if he's younger than me, it's technically a possibility. Because something I was talking about earlier in the stream, I'm adopted. So, and I don't know my birth family. So I don't know if my birth parents or my birth mother or father had kids after me. I may have full siblings or half siblings out there that I have no idea exist. Thankfully, I made very sure that my wife could in no way possibly be one before we got together. Okay, I just Moon, best clips of all that. I'm just I'm clicking on this.
Moon's take on Chief of Police. Man, my take is simple, dude. All right, it was Omega delayed. Clearly, they didn't give a shit about it. You know what my take is? I think Andrews does a good job of running the police department most times. I think, and look, I love Coyle too. Let me preface this by saying that I love Coyle. Okay, but
could you guys move out of the way? A wooger. A wooger. A wooger.
Yep, that's it. Watch this shit.
Okay, so keep in mind, it's important to note that these stories are not in chronological order, and sometimes...
Do I sound like Moon? I don't hear it, but I also know that, like, every individual does not hear their voice the same way that everybody else hears their voice, because it's coming from your own head. But I've also, like, I've done media, like I've done videos and streams and other things like since I was like 14. So I've done enough editing of my own stuff to have heard my voice before, and my wife is calling me. I don't know if it's just me, but you sound exactly like I don't hear it, but again, I'm hearing my own voice differently. Hello. You are on stream. Do I need to mute for any reason? Okay. What's up? You're not on speaker or anything. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll still text it to you, but it was just sour cream and a green pepper. Okay. Do I need to text that to you? Chat says hi. They said they didn't really like you. Sorry, guys. I'm absolutely kidding. They just said hi back. Also wanted to let you know... actually, hold on. I am going to put you on speaker for a second. Hi, hon.
Okay. Hello.
Just wanted to let you know that part of the discussion that happened today on stream, one of my good buddies said that you would be a very good mom. Well, technically speaking, they said you would be a good mom. But, you know, I'm not splitting hairs.
I mean, mom is mom no matter where you're from. But thank you, chat. I try really hard to take good care of people I care about and make sure that they are okay.
And I think you're very successful in doing so.
I hope so.
You are. Don't worry.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, now get me dinner.
All right. Love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Yeah, so that's my wife. Sometimes. And by the... That's a whole other can of worms. not that I mean sometimes we just divorce or that we're in an open relationship. They are. I don't know if they want me to say, so I won't. I'm pretty sure they would be perfectly fine with it, but I'm not 100%, so I won't. I'm gonna just shut up. How's about I do that? Yeah, I don't think I sound like Moon Man. But again, that is just me. I maybe if I wasn't as I think my voice is nasally. I feel it a lot in the back, like on the soft palate. It feel it kind of like coming out the nose a lot more. I think I'm very nasally. See you later, buddy. Thanks for dropping in. Thanks so much for the follow, and thanks for being active in chat. Love you too. Come back on Saturday at 6 p.m. I'll be streaming then. Don't pick up that shovel. You may find yourself in an ever-growing ditch. I'm going to assume that meant something. I'm going to assume that meant something about, like, when I was debating about whether to say something about my wife or not. And yes, that is pretty much precisely why I just decided to shut up. Like, that's, if I'm not 100% on something, I don't fucking do it. More of a British term, taking your own grade. Yeah, that's what I thought. I hit the wrong button. Yeah, I think that other guy's not. Is it just me? Did I sound like that other guy? I don't think I sound like Moon. But again, I don't know if that's just me. I didn't hear really the similarities. Been there, got about 30 of those t-shirts. Yeah. Oh, do I have any way of pulling up that picture of the dude I was talking about? I'm gonna do I'm sure there's... Okay. I could probably send it somewhere and pull it up or whatever. I think it's a slight similarity. Okay. I'll take it. Like, I wasn't, like, vehemently against it. I'm not offended or nothing. Tell me... Does that... Oh, man. Hold on. Let me try turning off my light. See if this will help at all. Not really. But can you see, like... No. Like... That's me, right? That dude's just me, right? Like, it was scary. Like, it legit, like, I was scrolling and I was like, is that me? Like, that's obviously, like, cropped from the original, but even, like, body type, like, he was a little small. He was not as chunk as I am, but, like, he was, like, he was also tall with, like, basically the same body type. Need a little more facial hair, but I'd say pretty damn close. Yeah, so I really wish I had the capability of growing, like, a good beard. And I know you know, like, beard, like, maintenance and care and all that sort of stuff. But I'm probably gonna shave this, like, tonight. I always keep some stubble because I hate my face like clean shaven. But I have like skin conditions, and so, like, even just this, like, how, like, relatively short and stubbly this is now, like, I'm already, like, it's causing flare-ups. So I need to shave this, which sucks because I would like nothing more than a big old wizard beard. But I can't. And actually, I wouldn't. I've had a long beard before, and I hate how much the mustache gets in the way of, like, eating and drinking. Some of the worst pain. I've been through some of the worst pain you can experience as a human being. Kidney stones. And I still say some of the most intense immediate pain is taking a sip of pop from like a can while you have, or drinking from an aluminum can while you have facial hair, especially the mustache region. And I don't know if you've ever gotten a hair like caught in like the tab and then not known it and just pulled back and it just ding! Oh my god, it's the worst fucking pain and I hate it so much. I usually keep it. Yes, it's fucking painful. Absolutely, dude. Do not enjoy it. I tend to keep it pretty closely shaven, but like I very rarely ever, like take a razor to it or whatever. I don't like this baby face. Not as bad as the little toe on the coffee table. Yeah, but it's a close one for sure. I dropped our aluminum trash can bin on the like where the cuticle meets the nail of my big toe like 4 months ago, like last year, and I still like it healed, but that I can't remember if I was home alone. If I did, I screamed. If I wasn't, it took everything in me to not scream. And it was the nail was so like bruised and everything for a while. And even now, again, like potentially like 6 months later, it's just like I have a tiny red dot that is millimetering its way towards like the end of my nail, but it's still fucking there, and I have to look at it every goddamn day and be like, yep, dropped a trash can on my fucking foot. God, that hurts so much. But yeah, stubbed toes are the goddamn worst. Ooh, you know what happens to me a lot because of our house? So the door that we usually come in through for our house has a screen door, and then like the actual door, and so like most of the time when we come in, if we've been out and we've locked the doors, the screen door doesn't have that little like sliding latch on it to keep it open, so we have to physically keep it open, which usually is just opening it and then like using our like shoulder or like our hip to prop it open while we unlock the door. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll just throw it open and then just keep it up with like I'll put my elbow up, which I've stopped doing because of the handful of times now that I've done that and it's winged right in that tender fucking terrible spot that just sends a jolt of pain throughout the rest of your body, the hitting the funny bone. Ouch. Worst one for me was a nail through my foot. I do need a broken bone soon though. Not have many of those for a while. And every time I say this, I make sure I am near a wooden surface. I am 30, almost 31, and I have never broken a bone, which I am exceptionally happy about because I have a very low tolerance for pain and I just would not want to deal with any part of that. Closest I've come was a severe sprain of my ankle that I had to work through, which also sucked because it was while I was on vacation up in Buffalo, and like the next day we were going to Niagara Falls to specifically walk around, so I was just hobbling around with my grandfather's cane. Yeah, that sucked. Ooh, yes, the funny bone isn't fucking funny. Yeah. Yeah, I've never broken a bone. Like I said, most of the stuff like the few times I have been in the hospital, again, I've been in the hospital for kidney stones, and I was in the hospital, I've had my gallbladder removed, but there was a precursor emergency room visit when I was dealing with a lot of abdominal pain, which I still am. And none of the 5 doctors I've had in my whole life have been able to do anything about it, or I feel like I've actually tried to do anything about it. So that's been great. Any accidents any accidents I've had have strangely always been my right side. Right forearm, bent like a banana, neat. Right elbow smash, nail through the right foot. Any car that has hit me has always been on my right side. You get the... How many times have you been hit by a fucking car? That you have to make it plural. I've never stepped on a nail and had it go through... 4? You've been hit by a car 4 fucking times? Is that job related? Like, is that just... Do you do something that puts you in the street a lot? Do you just not pay attention when you're crossing the street? Or is this just a really bad luck sort of situation where it's like, dude, I don't fucking know. I do everything correct, and I just keep getting hit by fucking cars. Because four is an unacceptable amount of times to say you've gotten hit by a car if you're not, like, a stunt man. Yeah, I'm waiting on the story for that one. The other ones I can kind of... I thought once I possessed magnetic capabilities, mostly bad luck and exhausted due to working a lot of hours. Okay, so pretty much sleep. Okay. I can... Okay, I've been there. Both from working, like, hours and just being exhausted and, like, not having the mental capacity to pay attention. But also the same results because of... I can't remember if you were here when I was talking about this on Monday. I can't remember if I talked about this on Monday. I've dealt with insomnia as well for pretty much as long as I've had my mental illnesses, so like 15 to 20 years. Yeah, I've had insomnia. And now it's gotten better now to where, like, I'll just have bouts of it every once in a while. But it was real bad in, like, end of high school and most of, like, my college days. So yeah, I think my longest is, like, I've gone, I think it was like 54 hours without sleep. So I definitely understand the mind fog of just, I just need to get home. I just need to, like, I just need to cross the street, and then just car. Again, it's never happened to me, but I can put myself in your situation and be like, okay. Worst times were going into work Monday morning and finally getting home Thursday mornings with about 15 hours of sleep. Fuck. Yeah, I just, I don't know. I thought you guys didn't do that shit over there. I guess I'm more thinking about, like, the, like, Netherlands. Not the Netherlands areas, but, like, I think it's more like... It's more of, like, Sweden and Norway that have, like, a lot of that shit handled, right? In terms of like, working life. Yeah, I don't really know what it's like in the UK. Obviously, you know, again, US is... I mean, you know what it is. Yeah, that's a lot of hours. That was more due to wanting overtime and pay bills. Okay, so you were taking it as well, which I also understand. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, but like I can definitely get in that mindset of I understand the place being out of just not even having the mental capacity to process things, and you have that like I just need to get from where I'm at to where I need to go, and then life, like a car, sideswipes you. Long ass shifts. Gotcha. 8 to 10 p.m. Jesus. Yeah, 12-hour shifts. I considered doing similar shifts, but only in one particular situation, and it never actually came up, so I didn't. Both my wife and I work for a company where we basically our jobs is we go into the homes of people with mental and physical disabilities and help them do whatever needs to be done. Which usually is like just medication, cooking, cleaning, transportation, that sort of stuff. And at one point, I had asked my boss to if third shifts, if any third shift opportunities ever came up, to let me know, because most of the time third shifts were 10 to 12 hours, and my thought process was like, yeah, working third shifts would suck, but I would only have to work like 3 days a week and be full time. And most of those third shifts don't require much because most of the time the clients are asleep. So, you're just there for essentially for like the just in case. And so I, talking to other people that worked it, I knew it was mostly like a lot of nothing. And so I was like, yeah, if I could just get to a place where like the clients like sleep well enough and all I really have to do is make sure they're like getting to bed when I get there, and then like getting them up in the morning and like maybe taking them to work or whatever, and only doing that 3 days a week and still being full time. Yeah, I'll fucking do that for like 4 days off a week. That's quite similar to what I do, but I don't handle meds in this current job. I gotcha. Yeah, before this, my wife worked at a place that did the same thing, but geared towards elderly individuals. So it was a visiting nurses thing. So she would go into again basically the same thing, except so in that industry it's more like you may have the same people on your schedule kind of rotating, but most of the time like you figured out where you were going like the day you came, like that morning you kind of got your schedule of where you were going, and most of the time you were only at a place for maybe an hour or two at a time, and then so you were just there to like do the thing they needed to do, and then you go to the next person. So you're working with like 3 or 4 different clients a day. The industry that we're in now, at least the company that we're in, well, no, because I've worked for a couple other companies that do the same thing, and it wasn't really like that. It's more of like you are assigned like specific clients that you're working with, like it, and usually like at one site, like the one location, and then that's just who you work with. And so like some people take on multiple clients, but a lot of the people that I worked with didn't. So like the most amount of people that I've ever worked with at this job, well, the most amount of sites that I've worked at was like 2, maybe at 1.3. But yeah, like right now I just work at one site with one guy. And so like I'm like he's the only guy I'm working with every day that I work. And I've been with him for like going on 2 years now, I think. A little over 2 years. Don't pretend I can't hear you. They're home. So yeah, so we handle everything. I'm very thankful that the individual that I'm working with right now is, some people don't like these terms, but whatever. Like he's very high functioning, and there's very little I have to really worry about. But I've also worked in the home with three individuals living there who needed much more care. So I've run the gambit between basically doing nothing except for like some shopping and transportation, all the way to, hey, can you go get the kitchen tongs? I don't have any gloves, and I need to get the softball-sized shit out of the toilet. Yeah, so kind of run the gambit on all that. Well, oh, okay. All right. Well, I think I'm actually gonna stop it there for today. As I just heard, like, I'm pretty sure my partner's home, so well, I'll read this real quick. Damn, that sounds like a dream. There's me and one other staff at my job in care of 10, all schizophrenic and learning disabilities. I've worked with autism and stuff too. I would love to work with Down syndrome though. I gotcha. Yeah, we're so the company that we work for doesn't have any sites that are what we call group homes, which it more sounds like what you're in. And that is they're the sites that have, like, 6+ people all living there at the same time, and like will maybe have 2 staff if you're lucky. Yeah, our company doesn't do that. Like, all individuals are either in their own homes or in homes provided by the company, but like no more, like 4 would probably be the most you would ever have, like, at one site, and it would for sure be double staffed. So we're very lucky with that. And yeah, I've also worked with some clients with a lot of that sort of stuff too. But it is more along the lines of like intellectual and learning disabilities and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's actually super interesting that we ended up working like basically in the same field. That's crazy. Well, all right. Like I said, I'm gonna end it here. Pretty sure they're home, so I gotta get started on dinner. And the other streamer that the reason I stream earlier on Wednesdays is because there's another streamer that I watch that also streams on Wednesdays. So I like to get off with enough time to prepare for dinner and watch their stream. So this has been great, man. Really enjoyed the stream. It's been awesome chatting about everything. Hope yourself and your wife have a great evening. Hey, thanks a lot, man. You guys too. Obviously, I know it's into the evening already. I think it's like 12. Well, what would your clock say? 00:30 in the morning. Yeah, so I'll let you get to bed. I'll let you get your rest. Hopefully you do. Yeah, if you're interested at all, like I was saying earlier, there's the YouTube channel. Always appreciate a new subscription on there, and hit that bell for the notifications. I always get the VOD of the stream up, and the videos ready by the next day. I'm really honestly trying to work on doing like highlight videos and things like that instead of just uploading the stream. But it takes a lot of time, and I have a shitty computer. So it takes a little bit of more time. And again, it's just me. But yeah, all that's there. I will be streaming again on Saturday at starting at 6 p.m. my time, which again is unfortunately like midnight your time. But I will be live, and I will be here. I believe I said that we're going to be doing Dead Space. So if you like horror, it'll be great. If you don't like horror, but like watching the reaction of someone who doesn't deal with horror well, it'll also be a good stream for you to see. I'll drop a sub. No Facebook, though, as I ended up getting rid after 4 bans in 1 week. Boy. But I know what that's like, too. Love Dead Space. Yeah, like I played it once like a month ago, and it was one of my favorite streams I did. Everybody had fun. A lot of people were here and chatting. It was a ton of fun. And I've been working on the highlight video for it since it came out. It's taking a long time. I was also an idiot. So there's a particular part that takes a lot of editing. But I'm trying to get that up. Yeah, it was a ton of fun. So that'll be Saturday. And dark humor group who didn't appreciate my dark humor. Well, fuck them. Fuck those guys then. All right. Have a good rest of your evening. I'll see you guys on Saturday.